renewable energy, solar power, harnessing the power of the sun to light all corners of the globe, wind power, channeling a simple breeze to bring electricity to our homes, hydropower, using the natural flow of water to generate electricity, nuclear power, engineering advanced reactors that are safer, more reliable, and produce zero carbon emissions. Engineers are leading the way and empowering the next generation. Engineers answer the call. Brought to you by the National Academy of Engineering. Learn more at nae.edu.
All of your favorite 1017 The Truth content whenever you want. The Truth app has it all. The Truth is on 1017 and 1510 WGKB Waukesha, a locally owned Good Karma brand station.
It's time! It's time! It's Beta time!
You are watching a master at work.
Truth Nation, get ready for the greatest 60 minutes in radio, giving you his authentic and bold opinions, bringing you all the information, entertainment, and conversations you gotta hear. From local issues to trending topics and headline news, it is time for Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace on the award-winning 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, 1017thetruth.com, and streaming live on YouTube. Now, live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the Avenue in the heart of downtown Milwaukee, here is your award-winning host, Kyle Wallace.
Truth to Power here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. I am your host, Kyle Wallace of Truth to Power, right here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth, live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the 3rd Street Market Hall in the Avenue. I appreciate you all tapping in and joining in on another great episode that it will be powerful today. Shout out to my boy DJ Brother Z holding it down on the ones and twos as always. And then also I gotta lift my seat up because I'm joined by my guest co-host today, Dame LZ. How you doing, Dame?
What's up, brother? How you doing on this, what is today?
26? Yeah, Wednesday the 26th.
You know, when you work like a Jamaican, days just melt into each other.
Oh, we don't say Hebrew slave no more? I remember.
Well, I'm talking about, In Living Color when they had the skit where everybody had, he only got 3 jobs. You know what I mean? So I got about 5 jobs.
You got about 5 jobs, working hard. Did you ever find your glasses?
I did not, so I had to go get some new ones.
That's all right. So they were readers you lost?
Yeah. Don't stop putting my business out there in the street that I wear readers. So I don't want nobody to know I'm not old.
You got them big old glasses on your face now. You think they can't tell? Them is thick.
You gotta go to YouTube to see it, though.
Yeah. Speaking of YouTube, make sure y'all do go to YouTube. 101.7 The Truth on YouTube. 101.7 The Truth on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that thumbs up like button as always, so you never miss any of your favorite shows. I'm joined here by Dame LZ. And then also, you want to chime in on the conversation today, 833-212-1017. That is the talk to text line. And so today, I just want to give y'all an update. I did reach out to Brad Schimmel's people again. No response, which is odd because I'll show you the text chain for you to see. And it was responsive at first. Last week when I initially called him, we had a great conversation. Not Brad, his people. Had a great conversation, and then as you can see here, Dame, I'll cover up the phone number so can't nobody else see. But you can kind of see there's a pretty good back and forth conversation, and then you kind of see where it stopped, and then you see I got left on red. Nobody, He didn't respond to my text last night. And what did I text last night? To Brad Schimmel, who's running for the state Supreme Court seat. Election day is next week. You can vote early starting now here in Milwaukee in the state of Wisconsin.
Last night you told him, hey, just following up to see if your team was able to find some time for Brad to join me this week.
That's it.
That's it.
And no response. But remember, before that, he was responsive.
Yeah,
he messaged me. Yeah, very responsive. He was responsive to cancel, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And so then I also called him today. He did not answer. So, and you know when people send you the voicemail, you know they send you voicemail? Yeah. After a couple rings. So I got sent the voicemail. So Truth Nation, I'm going to keep updating y'all. And again, I'll call again tomorrow, and I don't hear from him. I'll share my thoughts about how I truly feel about the situation and how I do think race does play a role in this, in the sense of, when I say race, not just me, understanding that this is Milwaukee Black Talk. Yes. And I'm starting to get the feel that Brad Schimmel don't give a damn about black folks. No. And so I'll save my, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he'll come through. Maybe he'll be more responsive. But like I did say, I know Dr. Ken reached out to Brad Schimmel for 2 weeks trying to get Brad to come on, and they gave him the runaround and the runaround and the runaround after smiling in his face, saying, "Oh yeah, we want to come on. We'll definitely come in studio."
Hollywood talk.
Yeah, definitely come in studio. And not to, I contacted Susan Crawford folks. They got back to me. They gave me a date, gave me a time. I followed up on that Sunday. They said, "Yep, we look forward to it." And then they even emailed me back. So all it took was one call, that's all, to get in contact with Susan Crawford. But now I emailed Brad Schimmel initially on his, the press website, the media website. I emailed him directly based off the information that I was given. I called him directly. He sent me the voicemail saying, "Hey, can I call you back? What's up?" And I told him what's up. Never responded to that whatsoever. And so I'm just saying.
It doesn't seem like he's particularly interested in talking directly to black people. He's hedging his bets. It's close to the end of the election. He don't want to waste time on us.
So we can sit here, we can talk about Democrats don't deliver for black people. At least they respond. Yeah. At least they respond. At least they come talk to you. So when you go to the ballot, just keep that in mind, and trust me, I'll give y'all an update tomorrow on Brad Schimmel. And if Brad Schimmel does not respond by that time, I do have my list of questions that I planned on asking him. I got 3 pages of questions I planned on asking Brad Schimmel. And I will be letting y'all know some of these questions. And I'll just, since he doesn't want to come on, we'll see if he comes on or not. But if he does not come on, I will say this. I will just say, the things that are in the media about him, I'll just basically ask those questions. And for Sonny B in the talking text line, Sonny B, if you listen back to my interview, Sonny B, he doesn't want to talk to somebody that's going to oppose him. I wasn't going to oppose Brad Schimmel. I asked Susan Crawford questions about the cases that she had. I didn't. If you listen to that interview with Susan Crawford, it wasn't just a puff piece whatsoever. And I wasn't going to just do a puff piece with Brad Schimmel. I was going to ask him questions of why we should vote for him and why he believes Susan Crawford isn't good. I was going to ask him about George Soros as well, that's supporting Susan Crawford, and why that's a bad thing as well. But then I was going to talk about the rape kits. Like, I was going to ask him the same questions that I asked Susan as well, because I'm here to be fair and I'm here to be balanced and I'm here to ask the questions I think the community should know. And so obviously Brad Schimmel right now is ducking us, and we'll find out. Maybe I'm wrong, and I'll have to apologize to Brad tomorrow. But just know this: he was happy to join 1130 WISN, different radio station, conservative talk radio station. Dang, happy to join them on the first day that you can early vote. They said, "Oh yeah, we hit him up. He came right on." So we'll find out if Brad Schimmel wants to come on and talk to Truth Nation and wants to answer questions. So we will definitely see. 833-212-1017.
What do you think the likelihood is of him responding and coming back?
You saw the text messages. Yeah. I just think it's very odd that we had a text chain where the guy was responsive, and then all of a sudden when I asked for a follow-up just yesterday, I asked for a follow-up, there was no response. I talked to him on the phone multiple times. It even helped him get the interview scheduled with Dr. Ken and saying, "Hey, make sure you go on Ken's first. Like, I want you to go on Ken's first." And had a conversation, right? Going back and forth. And then all of a sudden, poof, ghost. Poof. Terrible. And so I do think it's intentional, but again, I could be wrong. I definitely could be wrong. So we're gonna find out. Yep. So again, we'll find out tomorrow if Brad Schimmel decides that he wants to come on. That's fantastic. But if he doesn't, then I'll lay out his record. I'll lay out the things that he said in the past. I'll lay out the people that he had with him on stage as well that may have been anti-black, but we'll have that conversation, and he won't be able to say anything because he chose not to.
Have any rebuttals?
He won't be able to. And again,
whereas if he was here, he would be able to have those rebuttals because you would say it anyway, right?
Yeah, 100%. And so here's the one thing about me, Dame, is that everything that I say is based off of facts. I make my opinions based off of facts, but I happily will share anybody. All the details I find, the information I find, I make sure I'm factually correct. Matter of fact, I have some audio that we're going to probably play tomorrow if he does not come on, and I'll make sure I'll credit the audio and all that and the video stuff because everything I do is factual. And so if he's afraid to come on to talk to black people, that's on him. If he wants to go to, wants to make Dr. King get the runaround to go on, and listen, it was frustration. Like me and Ken talked about it. To give him the runaround to finally come on, wait to the last minute to try to come on, then we're going to talk about it. So 833-212-1017. We'll see. We will see, but I am again joined by Dame, LZ, and Dame. Election Day is coming up here on April 1st. Again, people can get out and vote early right now here in the city of Milwaukee. And I just want to get your perspective and your take on with the elections going on. We got basically three major things on the ballot. There's other elections, a lot of judges running unopposed. But you have the state Supreme Court race that I just alluded to that is happening.
I think that's the most important one. Right?
That's important. What about the state superintendent race? And then also the vote yes or no when it comes to whether or not you want to, they want to make it part of the Constitution that you have to have an ID to vote. So it's yes or no, even though you already have to have an ID to vote. So
I think my point of view is starting at the top is and I won't go through all of them, but the Supreme Court with the fact that Elon Musk is they just put in the paper, he put in $19 million into this race for Brad Schimmel, the guy that's ducking us. He put in $19 million. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, he put in a lot of money
for a state race.
And
$19 million.
And
Let that sink in.
Yeah, and Elon Musk also offered to pay people $100 to
on top of that,
basically to sign a petition to say that we don't want to vote for legal activists, and he's going to pay people $100 a bribe. And when Brad Schimmel was asked about that, he said he has no control over Elon Musk's money, but he also did say, he didn't say that he condoned it or he didn't say he was against it. He just decided not to comment. If somebody was handing out $100 to steal votes and they were on the other side, if George Soros did it, I'm sure he will point it out. So, Brad Schimmel, you sound like a joke to me, but we'll find out.
That's what it sounds like. And so the whole thing with Elon is so that people, I always tell people, follow the money. And in this case, the money is Elon wants to be able to open these dealerships without having to have a private dealer. Because in Wisconsin, a car company can't just open a dealership and go straight from car company to the people.
So Ford can't just open up a Ford dealership that isn't the LZ Ford dealership.
Absolutely.
Ford cannot sell directly to consumer, right? It has to go from Ford to Dame LZ, who owns a car dealership, then to the consumer. What Elon Musk wants to do is he wants to be basically have a Tesla dealership and sell straight to the people. So instead of doing Wisconsin rules, he wants to basically pay Brad Schimmel, it sounds like, to when they have that court case come in front of him, he wants to
because he's suing the state. So when it reaches the state Supreme Court, he can have somebody on there. That is not what it's supposed to be. That is not democracy.
Money can make anything go away.
Follow the money. I tell people all the time. I tell my kids this. I tell anybody that's listening, follow the money. You want to know what the real truth is and what's really going on and how somebody really feels about something in politics? Follow the money.
Yeah.
See where that money goes, and then you'll get their real intentions and what they're really thinking.
No, I 100% agree. I think, and again, I even asked Susan Crawford about the Soros money because for me, it's supposed to be a nonpartisan race, but she's being supported by, Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, George Soros. He's being consulted. He just got a endorsement from Donald Trump. Like that's a huge. The president of the United States is putting his imprint on the election that is a nonpartisan race and supporting a conservative justice. So for me, that's all you need to know about this election and this race. And if you're satisfied with everything happening, then maybe you know who to vote for. If you're dissatisfied with everything that's happening, that's what you need to vote for. But a lot of people, what bothers me so much, Dame, is that too many people don't actually look at issues. People just vote based off their party lines, and that what annoys the hell out of me.
And it's nonpartisan, like you said.
It is.
In this race specifically, you should be focusing on the issues. And if there's not a race that you should be focusing on those issues, it's this one, because it's Supreme Court. It's somebody that's going to make the decisions of the land for this state.
And we have to,
powerful.
Yeah, people really don't understand that. Like in the other race we can talk about, the state Supreme Court, the state superintendent race, we have two candidates that are running. And if you drive through certain neighborhoods, like some suburban neighborhoods that are, maybe purple neighborhoods, which mean they vote blue and they vote red, and more some red ones. I see Brittany Kinzer signs up there, right? Brittany Kinzer is running against Jill Underly, who is the current state superintendent. I can tell you this right now: I'm not voting for Brittany Kinzer because she's supported by Republicans. But it's interesting to me. You say that on there?
Sherwin said that she isn't supported by.
She is 100% supported by Republicans. She has gotten funding from Diane Hendricks. Diane Hendricks, do you know who Diane Hendricks is?
I don't. School.
Diane Hendricks is the woman who is basically the president of ABC Supply. And so with ABC Supply, they donate. A matter of fact, we can just Google, Dan, if you want to, Google how much money has Diane Hendricks given to Donald Trump. And so we can find that out here. And then on top of that, also has received money from the Eline family as well. The Eline family also is a huge supporter of conservatives. So she 100% is supported by conservatives in this election. But what I was going to say is what I find interesting is that I don't believe the woman's an actual conservative. I believe the woman's getting the backing of conservatives. And so what's interesting about that, my whole point was when you drive through certain neighborhoods, they have up signs of a woman that probably doesn't vote the same way they vote, but just because the Republicans are backing her, that's why they have their signs up. And that's why I think people are just idiots when it goes to the ballots, because they don't even know the history of people, and they'll just support whatever their party tells them to do. Have you been able to find anything?
It says millions.
How many?
It says millions, so with an S.
So Diane Hendricks is giving
millions. She's a billionaire.
She's a billionaire. She's giving millions to Donald Trump, and she's also giving money as well to Brittany Kinzer as well for her election. So
she gave money in 2016, and then when he got elected, she got a whole bunch of tax credits and tax cuts because of what she had given to. That's just what I read right then. So if you don't think she's Republican diehard and that she's supporting Ms. Kinzer, then that don't shape you.
She donated money to the. She donated money to her.
A lot of times, I not to play, but a lot of times play devil advocate. Rich people will give money to both sides and then they'll say, I gave this person
just so that they can say they helped out whoever won.
But what you have to do is you have to look who they gave the most money.
On the other side, Kinzer has been favored by state Republicans as the Wisconsin Republican Party has given her $100,000. And billionaire GOP mega donors Dick and Liz Eline, founders of shipping company Uline, which is in the Kenosha area,
I read about them.
and Diane Hendricks, owner of ABC Supply, all gave the maximum $20,000 individual donation. However, she has not been officially endorsed by any elected official. So, I mean, if a Republican Party gave me $100,000, what you think?
That's what it is.
So again, he may have said that, but I'm just reading the facts. So I have no idea.
If it walks like a duck.
Talks like a duck. It's a duck. But my whole point of this is that the Republicans are supporting her, and Republican constituents don't even know her. Don't know her background. They don't know who she voted for.
And see,
but they've been being told to support her, and she may be somebody that voted for Obama, voted for Hillary Clinton, may have been anti-Trump, but because the Republicans are telling them to support this woman, they're not even looking into her history.
Listen, this is what I always use this as an example in situations like this. I go back to Scott Walker. And when I talk about Scott Walker, I'm always talking about the buyer's remorse that happened after Scott Walker got elected that one time. When he got elected and then people tried to recall, They weren't listening. Scott was saying what he was going to do. He did it. He got in office.
He sure did.
Scott Walker listening.
Scott Walker ain't lied about. He was not lying about anything.
But it goes back to your point that people just follow party lines and they don't get deep into the issues and read about what somebody is going to do and what they are going to do and how it's going to affect them. They just shoot. That's red. Boom. That's my guy right there. He Republican. That's got to be my guy. And then 6 months later, you sitting there jobless because your union got kicked out the window or something. Not that that's the case in this election, but
that was the case with Scott Walker. With the Act 10 was a big deal.
Right, but I'm just saying that's what happens, and you get that buyer's remorse, and that happens too much because people just jump in, and they don't want to read more than the headlines of an article.
That's true. That's why I said make sure y'all educate yourselves on these elections, especially when it comes to the state Supreme Court race.
Right.
Because again, you have two folks on the ballot, and for this one, I'm waiting to hear from the other opponent. And for the state superintendent race, again, I've been on record. I don't like either candidate. I voted for Jeffrey Wright. He lost. I don't think Jill Underly is the best, but I think, again, I'd rather have somebody who I know is going to at least do what's in the best interest of black students versus listen. the Kinzer woman, if she didn't have dollars supported by Republicans, then maybe we can have a conversation. Yeah. But once Republicans are in your back pocket, you are indebted to them.
I get emails.
Follow the money.
I get emails. That's it. Follow the money. I get emails from Kinzer every day. And to be honest, I'm the typical, even though I work in politics and my mind is all over the place. So I haven't been following this superintendent race as I should have been. And so I am the typical, in that regard, in this race, I am the typical voter. Black male, 48 years old. I don't know too much about either candidate, but I know enough to know that if she's getting money from the Republicans, then maybe she ain't the one for me. And I could be falling into the same suit that I accuse other people of doing, but there's a high likelihood that that's not the case. If she's getting all this money from the Republicans, she's not the one for me. You know what I mean?
No, I agree. 833-212-1017. I am joined here by Dame LZ here on the award-winning 1017.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The Truth, right here on Truth to Power. I see your calls. We see your texts. We see your messages. We'll definitely get to it on the other side. But also, we got to talk about some things, y'all. Right now, Donald Trump has just announced that he wants to give reparations, Dame. He wants
reparations.
But guess to who?
Not us.
January 6 rioters. Absolutely right. Donald Trump says he is considering giving reparations, yes, financial reparations to January 6 rioters. We're going to talk about that. But then also in the news, you also saw something that was trending on social media with Lamont Westmoreland, who is an alderman here in Milwaukee, who some people said he was cooning with some of the stuff that he wrote. Some people say it was right. Some people said he was. Some people said he was right. Some people said he was wrong. We'll definitely share our thoughts. So we got a full jam-packed show. Al, we see you. We're going to get to you on the other side. But again, this is Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace on the award-winning 1017, The Truth.
Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
Tune into The Truth this Saturday at 11 a.m. for another episode of More Than a Movement, powered by Planned Parenthood Advocates of Wisconsin. Me, your girl Noni Juice, will be joined by Sarah Noble. And in this episode, we are going to be discussing the court, the candidates, and the power to protect or destroy lives, because as you all know, it is a very important spring election coming up. So we get into it, and I want y'all to be tapped in. So again, that is More Than a Movement, powered by Planned Parenthood Advocates of Wisconsin, this Saturday at 11 a.m. on the award-winning 1017 The Truth.
Life's better with American Family Insurance, because whether it's a family road trip in your dream car or hosting a family reunion in your dream home, we help you feel protected so you can enjoy those dreams with peace of mind. Save up to 23% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Finding stable housing shouldn't be a struggle. The Milwaukee Rental Housing Resource Center connects renters, property owners, and partners to the resources they need, whether it's rental assistance, legal aid, mediation, or tenant education. No matter what your situation is, you do not have to go at it alone. Get assistance today by visiting renthelpmke.org. That is renthelpmke.org, or stop by their office at 728 North James Lovell Street in Milwaukee. At the Milwaukee Rental Housing Resource Center, they are here for all your housing needs.
On April 1st, we have a choice to make. Donald Trump wants us to elect Brad Schimmel to the Supreme Court. Elon Musk's even spending millions to elect him, because they know Schimmel will do whatever they want, even if that means letting them cut health care and food for hungry kids, or eliminate the Department of Education. That's why we need to vote for Judge Susan Crawford.
I'm Judge Susan Crawford. As a former prosecutor and now as a judge, I've made sure rapists, murderers, and child predators were behind bars where they belong. And I trust women to make their own healthcare decisions. Brad Schimmel doesn't, but I always will. And that's why I'm asking for your vote.
That's Judge Susan Crawford, protecting our rights, our families, and our community. So on April 1st, help keep Trump and Musk in check. Go to the polls and vote for Judge Susan Crawford for Supreme Court. Make the right choice. Vote Susan Crawford on April 1st. Paid for by Susan Crawford for Wisconsin.
This is Truth to Power on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
The road.
Getting to the chicken if you looking for me. You ain't never been with a boss before, you ain't gonna never leave. Tell that phone, bro, put it on D&D.
It is Truth to Power here on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. But before we get back into everything, listen, Truth Nation, the Gruber Law Office Analysis Live is back and takes place this Saturday, March 29th at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Tickets are selling fast, so get yours at taliveshow.com. The Nassas joined Jamming with Juice this morning. You can go back and you can watch that on YouTube, but also you can go back and listen to that full interview on our 101.7 The Truth app. Join the Nassas Antetokounmpo for a live show with special guests Brandon Jennings, Brooke Lopez, Kyle Kuzma, and more surprise guests who will be joining the Nassas Live. There will also be food, drinks, and a great time. So visit taliveshow.com to get your tickets now for the Analysis Lives this Saturday at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. That is taliveshow.com to get your tickets to the Analysis Live. Don't miss out. On the other side, we're just talking about the upcoming election. Get out and vote, Truth Nation. Election early voting has begun here in the state of Wisconsin. You have until Saturday, March 29th to vote early, but then you can vote on Election Day. Always remember you can register in person on Election Day to vote on April 1st. That's Tuesday, April 1st. Polls open up at 7 a.m. and they close at 8 p.m. Get out and vote. We were just having a conversation about the candidates in this election, but Al, and I'm also, by the way, I'm joined by Dame LZ here on Truth to Power. I will not forget about you, and y'all can watch and stream us live on YouTube. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. But Al from Sherman Park, thank you so much for holding. What are your comments on the election?
Yeah, so I wish we could stop pretending that these races aren't partisan, because when you go back and you look at the donations, you know, the Democrat Party is going to funnel a lot of money to Crawford, and the Republicans are going to funnel money to Schimmel.
Yep.
They're partisan. Just look at the tally, and I'll be very surprised if the Republicans have more money behind Schimmel than the Democrats end up
They do not. They do not. They actually, Elon Musk did put a whole bunch of money behind one person and tried to, you know, pay people $100 to be against activist judges. But what's her face? Susan Crawford has raised more money than Brad Schimmel, 100%. You're absolutely right, but it's a nonpartisan race, and Donald Trump endorsed somebody in a nonpartisan race. Is that not factual?
Well, I'm pretty sure a Democrat, strong in Illinois.
Al, the President of the United States is meddling in our election in a nonpartisan race. Did he or did he not endorse Brad Schimmel in this election in a nonpartisan race?
I think that's fine for him to endorse Schimmel.
That's cool. But it's a nonpartisan race, and he's throwing his weight behind it. So any other comments on the election you have, Al?
Yeah, so I'm glad that Elon put the money behind. I actually literally had a Schimmel door knocker come to Sherman Park, knock on my door, and give me some literature.
That's good.
And Schimmel, I don't see any problem with it. I think Republicans need to get out, knock doors.
Hey, Al, why do you think Brad Schimmel canceled on my interview? Why do you think he did that and made Ken gave Ken the runaround for 2 weeks? Why do you think he did that, but went on a WISN quickly and WTMJ quickly? Why do you think that is?
I don't know. Talk to your counterparts over at WTMJ. Maybe
they did. They were the ones who hooked me up. They the ones who hooked me up with the number and the contact information, and that's why he answered the phone, because he didn't know my number. He thought I was somebody else. And
so once he found out who you was, he was like, "Oh no."
So yeah. How do you feel about that, Al?
Quickly on Kinzer, I think she's open to school choice, and I think that's why Republicans are supporting her. We need to do something different with Milwaukee Public Schools. We've had the same Democrat run public administration of schools, and Underly is not going to do anything different but lower standards. So I'm all for Kinzer.
That sounds good. Thanks, Al. Thanks for sharing. Appreciate that.
Al ignored the hell out of you.
Yeah, he didn't want to answer the question.
Bruh.
And
just like Brad. Didn't he? He did just like we complaining about Brad ignoring us, and then Al calls in
and that's
trying to represent the Republicans, and then ignores you.
That's the whole problem I have. And this is the issue that I have with black Republicans. And I'll call out Al, and I like Al. My problem with black Republicans is that, yes, I call out Democrats, and I feel like as Democrats, we do not get enough, especially here in Milwaukee. We don't get enough from our black representatives who are black Democrats. We don't get enough, but we call them out. You know what I'm saying? We call them out nonstop. Today, Lamont Westmoreland ran as a Democrat, and he getting called out by the city. Am I not lying?
Well, he didn't run it. You don't have to run as a party.
He didn't run as he didn't run. He seemed like he was a Democrat. He was endorsed by Mayor Cavalier Johnson. Support him. Is that
you don't
correct?
have to run as
Did Mayor Cavalier
nonpartisan?
Mayor Cavalier Johnson seemed to be a supporter of his.
Yeah.
And
well,
so
it's Milwaukee, so you would assume that anybody that runs in Milwaukee is going to be a Democrat.
Especially
on the deep South side,
especially on that side of town. And so I'm just saying, we gonna talk about him today. I talk about Cavalier. David Crowley was just here. I talked about David Crowley. Like I talk about anybody, but it just bothers me that Black Republicans refuse. All of a sudden, they just ignore stuff when it comes to the negative. Like, oh, I don't know. You have to ask them. You got all these damn answers for other stuff, but you ain't got to answer that. Yeah, that's what
he didn't give you no type of answer. There was no answer that he could give. And he was just like, I'm not even going to respond.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Winky Blue, we got you. You're on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. Can you answer to me why you think Brad Schimmel canceled on me and then also gave Dr. Ken the runaround for multiple weeks?
Well, because you definitely going to come head on. He's going to meet the black community head on with questions that could either damn him if he do or damn him if he don't. You got to remember something, man. When these guys are running, anything that they say, everything that they say basically is being logged. And if he says the wrong thing, they will take that just like they took my man talking about he had built some houses down in Africa. And they took that and ran with it.
He was
and beat him over the head with
You're talking about Eric Hovde.
Okay, but listen to this.
Hold on. You were talking about Eric Hovde, who was on with Ben Carey and Tory at Juneteenth, and he was asked about his connection to Milwaukee's black community and Wisconsin black community. He said
that was his answer.
He said, I built houses in Africa. That's what he said. If you can't answer
the wrong stuff, and guess what they did? They took him and beat him to death with it. Yeah. You got to be careful when you come, brother. You got to be careful when you come talking to the black media.
Why do you have to be careful? Why can't you just be authentically yourself? Black people ain't scary. We're normal human beings that you should be able to answer questions.
Child, I hope I answered the question that you was asking. But I want to let you know something, that the Wisconsin Supreme Court has been held down for a while now. All women. They got one man up there. And the men and the women that got husbands, man, you ought to see their husbands. I think their husbands is just a cover-up. I don't even think that they really married. Our Supreme Court is dominated by women, and that's why this is a women's state. And guess what? Anything I can do to break the back of that, I'm going to do it. I've been trying to do it, and others have been trying to do it. And these women got a stronghold. And most guys that do this have a passive type. A lot of guys, man, and I don't want you to take this offensively. I don't want none of the listeners to take this offensively. But men have become passive. And a lot of them have been raised by women or women-dominated homes. And guess what? It makes them passive. We got that Hagendorf dude up there on the Supreme Court. The women's run rings around him. They make him say he'd vote with them, and he's a Republican.
I feel you, Winky. I feel you. I hear you. I hear you. Thank you, Winky.
You feel him? You feel Winky?
I don't know.
You feel Winky?
I started to tune him out once he started talking anti.
You shouldn't have said you feel Winky, because Winky got to talking real pimp talk right there. He talking about they getting ran by these women's folks.
It sounded. Well, I mean, it sounded good. It sounded
that is ridiculous.
It sounded good.
There ain't no men up there, so you gonna vote for Schimmel? We're gonna try to put you back into slavery.
Brian Hagethorn, Dorn he is up there. Who I actually I didn't like him at first because he wrote something about kind of that about anti women when he was in college. But he's pretty. He leans a certain way, but I like the fact that he actually allows for law. The phone lines keep lighting up. So we gonna have.
I want you to take back that you feel Winky. You gotta take that back.
I take that back. I don't feel.
Like
I do not feel.
You gotta.
Let me take that back. I don't feel what Winky said. But we got more calls coming in. Dame, when we come back, we're gonna answer these calls. We got 2 calls coming in, and Dame, you gonna have to tell me when we come back. We're gonna have a conversation. We're gonna talk more of this, but also I want to get in some other stuff as well that's going on. If not, Truth Nation, you already know. If y'all can't get it today, you already know I'll be back tomorrow. But we're going to make sure that we get as much out of Dame LZ while we have him here today. You'll also be able to hear him on Monday as well. He'll be back on Monday.
Yes, sir.
On Jammin' with Juice, Monday morning, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. He'll be back. But this is Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace. You can watch and stream us live on 101.7 The Truth on YouTube. Really quick, not really a city girl. She did say, ain't no way Brad wants a seat in the office on the state Supreme Court and can't handle a simple question. That energy don't match. Ain't that the truth?
If he went to them, he can come here. And any interview you're gonna take is gonna get hard ass. If you're gonna get asked those hard questions, you got to be able to answer them correctly. Mm-hmm. And so to pick one over the other is just showing that you feel this is not even up to your standards, maybe, or you don't even want to. It's wasting your time because you don't feel like black people are gonna like you anyway. But still, black people vote. So come holler at us.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely come holler at us because we do vote as well. But 833-212-1017. We see your calls. We see your texts. Dame LZ is in today as my guest co-host on Truth to Power with Kyle Walsh. We'll have more conversation on the other side. Keep it locked.
More of Truth to Power is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
President Trump and Elon Musk are forcing radical changes in Washington, from stopping payments for health care and threatening to restrict abortion rights to accessing Americans' private information. With Washington out of control, who we elect to the Wisconsin Supreme Court could be the last line of defense of our rights. The ACLU Voter Education Fund does not endorse or oppose candidates, but wants you to cast an informed vote in the Wisconsin Supreme Court election. So where do the candidates land on issues like abortion? Brad Schimmel stated he supports banning abortion. Susan Crawford successfully protected abortion rights while representing Planned Parenthood in Wisconsin. We need a Wisconsin Supreme Court that can be a check and balance to protect us when our rights are threatened at the federal level. On April 1st, Wisconsin voters will make a critical decision about the future of abortion in our state. To learn more about the Wisconsin Supreme Court candidates, visit aclu.org/WI2025. Paid for by ACLU Voter Education Fund, 212-549-2500. Not authorized by any candidate or candidate's agent or committee.
ACLU Voter Education Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
This is your Planned Parenthood Advocates of Wisconsin Minute.
So Black women's leadership needs to be prioritized. That means a whole lot of things, but it includes a message for white women, which would be, it'll be wise for you to take our lead. We've already demonstrated everything there is to the world about who we are. We shouldn't have to keep doing that over and over again. The reality is that there are times when we got to muster up the energy to do some things we don't want to do. But I don't want that to be commonplace for me, and I certainly don't want it to be commonplace for other Black women. There's often this message that we need to stay strong because there are people depending on it. No, we need ourselves.
Yeah, you can't, what do they say? You can't pour from an empty cup?
Yes. And I even am hearing people say a lot more, you shouldn't pour from your cup at all until it overflows. And it's the overflow that you give. You keep the full cup for yourself.
This has been your Planned Parenthood Advocates of Wisconsin Minute.
Are you looking for an opportunity to better the Milwaukee community? Do you want to develop your skills for a career or job? City of Milwaukee is recruiting for its 16th cohort of AmeriCorps members. We are hiring young adults ages 18 to 25 to serve our amazing scholars in Milwaukee Public Schools. This opportunity allows you to serve your community and gain professional development, which will allow you to enter the workforce, your next educational journey, or even stay with us for a second year of service. Visit cityyear.org to connect with our local recruiters and learn how to apply by Friday, May 2nd.
Is your washing machine not quite getting the job done the way you expected? Running your dryer over and over because it is taking forever to dry your clothes? Be frustrated no more, because Create Suds Laundromat in Milwaukee can get rid of all your washing and drying headaches. They offer new big load washers and dryers to reduce your cleaning time and even have free Wi-Fi for customers. Stop battling with stubborn stains and piles of laundry and visit Create Suds Laundromat. They are open every day from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m.
This Associated Bank Sports Update on 1017 The Truth is powered by ESPN Milwaukee. I'm Brandon Sneid. The Milwaukee Bucks will wrap up their 5-game West Coast road trip tonight in Denver as they get set to take on the Nuggets. Bucks guard Damian Lillard has officially been ruled out indefinitely after the health team discovered a deep vein thrombosis in his right calf. Tip-off tonight is scheduled for 8 p.m. Over to baseball, where spring training is all wrapped up for the Milwaukee Brewers. The next focus, the regular season, as they are in New York as they prepare to take on the Yankees in tomorrow's season opener. And lastly, some NFL news. The New York Giants and quarterback Russell Wilson have agreed on a one-year, $21 million deal, and the New England Patriots also agreeing with wide receiver Stephon Diggs to a 3-year, $69 million deal as well. The Sports Update brought to you by Associated Bank, proudly supporting your hometown teams. Member FDIC.
You are listening to Truth to Power on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
It is Truth to Power here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth, 833-212-1017. We're going to clear these calls really quickly, and then we're going to get back to the conversation. But, Al, you are on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. What are your thoughts on this conversation?
Well, the first thing I want to say before I go to that, to the reckless drivers, please race the Golden Gate and do everybody a favor. But I have a question for you and your colleague. You brought up earlier about this comment that everybody was getting upset about the garbage.
Oh, Al, do you want us to talk about it first and then respond? Or matter of fact, you can kick it off. We'll talk about it. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, my thing is why is everybody getting all upset about it? Because he's not talking about black people. He's talking about people with the mindset of niggas. So I don't understand why everybody gets so upset, because that's what we have to clean up every day. He's not referencing black people. So I don't understand why people are getting so upset about what he's saying, because we clean up after them every day. And I've been cleaning up after these white prostitutes that came from Washington and Maple and Greenfield that's been walking up and down Atkinson with them big red blotches on them too, because I don't appreciate picking up no needles down my block in front of my house. Now, I don't know what you're doing, but you can take that right back to the south side.
Thank you, Al.
Have a good day, and I'll listen to your comments.
You too, Al. And so what Al is referring to, he is referring to a statement that was put out by Alderman Lamont Westmoreland, who is an alderman here in Milwaukee, the alderman of the 5th District. And this is what he said. I'll paraphrase. He was upset about the trash on the ground because the snow is melting, and unfortunately, he said, it's the annual reminder how selfish and disrespectful some people can be, treating our city like their personal garbage can. This is the time of year when community groups across Milwaukee, like 1017 The Truth, organize cleanups. I respect the hell out of these groups and truly applaud their effort. Thank you, because it's absolutely needed. But at the same time, we need to start moving toward a point where these groups can direct their time and energy towards beautification and meaningful neighborhood projects, not just picking up after lazy and thoughtless individuals who don't care about the space we all share. And yes, I've seen the same mess making its annual appearances. This is where it becomes offensive to some. The wigs often mistaken for roadkill, the empty Black and Mild packaging, the empty fast food bags, Milwaukee's best beer cans, empty Hennessy bottles, chip bags, and everything else in between. I've seen dirty diapers being thrown from windows of moving vehicles, outright shameful and embarrassing. There's no reason why one side of Milwaukee can be clean and well kept while another one looks like a dark cloud carrying litter rolled through and dropped trash instead of rain. We all have a role to play in respecting the neighborhoods. And then he goes on to say, as I did last year, I'm once again asking Milwaukee Police Department, when possible, to strictly enforce the Milwaukee litter ordinance, which is a $500 fine. Thank you, Russell.
Yes.
Stamper for pushing that. And he said, for the sake of our environment, our neighborhoods, our communities' growth, and just plain human decency. And then he took one last shot. He said, if not, don't be surprised when the $500 fine comes your way. And trust me, it'll hit harder than that tumbleweave blowing down the block. Tumbleweave, he gave a definition, is a stray, often synthetic hair, like weaver wigs, that is driven by the wind and can be found on sidewalks and streets in urban areas. And then he also did issue an apology as well.
I was going to say
this morning he issued an apology.
He did issue an apology this morning that
after he got blown up on social media.
That cleared it up. He did catch heat on social media about it, and I think he caught heat because of
why is that?
The language of it, and Lamont is a straightforward dude. He's like my brother say he's not Lamont is not my brother, but I'm just saying, like, people often say Lamont is a straightforward. He shoots straight. He's shooting from the hip.
Yep.
He's one of those guys, and I think sometimes when you do that, you may cross the line. And he had the wherewithal, and at least he had the knowledge of self to come back and say, you know what, I went too far. I still believe what I believe, but I went too far. And you gotta, I can respect that he wasn't too big to not take it back and say, the lazy and thoughtfulness, and then to go on to the African American tropes of Hennessy and Black and Milds. And so you're placing all of this at the feet of black people, when the wider issue is that this is happening all over the city. It's litter and all of that is happening all over the city. How do I know that it's happening all over the city? Because in 2008, me and Russell Alderman Stamper, created the Big Clean. And in the Big Clean is a citywide cleanup that we do every year. It's one of the most successful programs that the city has offered in recent memory. When you drive down the street and you see those garbage cans on the corner with Big Clean on the side, that's because of my brother Russell and I. That's
y'all.
what we've done. And so we understand and we completely agree with the premise of what Westmoreland is saying about the garbage and the litter that's on the street, because we've taken it on head first. We've gone at it. We tried to get rid of it. We've tried to give money. The $500 fine that he's speaking of, that he's catching heat about, that came from us. We raised the fine up to $500 and put the legislation forth, and the Common Council voted on it. So we're not opposed to what he's saying. What we're opposed to is the laying of it at the feet, appear to be laying it at the feet of black people, and that it's not a citywide thing. Because you go on the South Side, they got stuff over there all on 16th Street. You go on the South Side in West Dallas,
That's true.
It's everywhere. And what the bigger issue is, and I know you want to jump in, but the bigger issue is, and what I'm saying is, we have to realize that we have a transient population. We have low to no home ownership in our population. And that's across the whole city, right? So what happens is you have people that have they're not buying into the city. And that's the bigger issue. The bigger issue is, how do we get those in the community to buy into the city, to buy into this is my community, and not just that a block full of landlords and renters and everybody's moving from spot to spot and you got a landlord that's not taking care of his stuff. These are the individuals we're talking about here. So how can you ask somebody that, and also you have to deal with a city that hasn't really shown that it's going to back up a certain part of our community, black people, and have left them, kind of hanging dry. Now you want them to be the optimum citizen. You want them to be, super citizen. That's not feasible. That's not even okay to ask. Let's do our part. And then when we do our part, and that's what the part of the Big Clean is us doing our part. We're doing our part to try to help keep the city clean. And when people see that, they can follow suit, and I think that's what Lamont was trying to get to, but he's just mad.
Yeah, he
is. And when you're mad, you say some things, and he has the wherewithal to come back and apologize for that. So I'm not going to jump on his ass about, my bad.
You good. You can say that.
I'm not going to jump on his ass about that because he apologized.
No.
And I respect that. And in doing that, we can still have this discussion without all of the emotion that would typically be in it. Because they was on his butt on Facebook.
They was going in on Facebook.
Because I woke up this morning, and it was like 7 repost of it, and people, and each repost had like 50, 60 comments and 70, 80 comments. That's a lot.
If you didn't know who Lamont Westmoreland was before this in Milwaukee, they know who he is now. And for me, I think there's definitely truth in there. I think 100% truth in there, because the reason why we have our cleanups is because we understand that our community needs that after we have this snow. And so I guess there's a call coming in. And so for me, I think he was 100% right. I think I don't think the approach was right. And also I think a lot of times is that you got to build up credibility in the community. You only been elected for a short amount of time. And so if Lena Taylor go out there and say that, ain't nobody giving no pushback, right? You have to build a certain level of credibility in the community, right? And so can you say that the first 24 months in office? Maybe not, but can you say that 5 years when you kind of build up that credibility, you show I'm about the community? Then absolutely. So again, I appreciate him apologizing, but again, he got a lot of smoke on the internet. But right now, actually, there's a phone call that we got in, and it's actually Alderman Lamont Westmoreland. Alderman, you have called in the Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace. Thank you for calling in. And you want to make a comment or talk about kind of all the controversy that's taken place after your press release yesterday?
What's up, fellas?
How you doing?
I'm doing okay. I heard you guys talking, and I'll say no lies have been told. I have a personal policy for myself, and there are a lot of things that frustrate me, and what I do is I write things down, and sometimes me writing it down is just getting them off of my chest. It makes me feel better. The statement that I released on Monday, it was I'm driving around my district, and it was pure frustration, and I pulled over on the side of the road and I wrote that, and I fired it out against my own personal policy. The goal with the statement was to get people engaging on an issue that I think is spiraling out of control, and it's starting to feel like it's becoming too accepting of people. So that's where that stems from. However, I am not above admitting when I'm wrong. and when my approach is wrong. And when I sent that statement out, even before the backlash and people sharing their thoughts and opinions and how they felt and how they were offended, even before that, once that statement was sent out, I said, man, that doesn't even sound good. So what came, I'm not surprised by. People that are offended, they deserve to be offended. So I'm just calling to say that my apology is sincere. My apology is not because I'm getting beat up. My apology is sincere. You know, they say in this world you can never please everybody 100% of the time, but that's what I aim to do. And like I said on my statement this morning, I missed the mark. It was frustration. My frustration spilled over. And for anybody that's offended by what I said, it is a sincere apology for my approach because it was wrong.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you. Alderman Lamont Westmoreland, the 5th District Alderman, he's calling in, and he just apologized and wanted to emphasize. We read the comments before. We said he apologized, and I appreciate you taking the time. Again,
hey, Lamont, tell them what area you have so people can know and they can understand what you're saying and what it is that when you're driving your district, what your district is comprised of.
I'm in the 5th District, so pretty much, in short, sandwiched right between Appleton Avenue, Menominee Falls, and to the south, Wauwatosa.
Okay.
And people say, it is a very good district, but people think that litter does not exist in my district. It does. You know what I mean? It does. And it's frustrating. And it's something that I've worked on for almost 2 years that I've been in offices. I've been working with businesses. I've been working with residences. I've been giving out the buckets. I mean, shout out to Alderman Stamper. You know, a lot of the stuff I've used has come from his initiatives, his offices. So I'm not just out here spewing frustration. Like, I am doing neighborhood cleanups. I am joining these groups. And I'm not a picture person. I'm not going to post a picture of everything that I do, but I am doing it. But I don't have to broadcast that I'm doing it. But I want to move beyond the point of where we need to do neighborhood cleanups. I want to move to the point where we're just picking up rappers here and there in our neighborhoods, and we don't have to do this, and we can actually focus on beautifying Milwaukee.
Well, thank you, brother. I appreciate you calling in, and thank you so much for taking the time to actually call in and speak to Truth Nation. And I appreciate you again for actually saying, "Hey, I said it. This is how I feel, but I didn't mean to offend anybody." So thank you so much for taking the time to talk to Milwaukee.
Like you said, a lot of the stuff that he's talking about, and a lot of the stuff that he's speaking about with the $500 fine, and like I was giving the history of it, that came from us. So we're not opposed to the feeling that he has. Nobody is opposed to that feeling. We all see it, and we all mad about it. And like he said, he apologized for maybe the wording of it and the.
Yeah, but I'll keep it. I said it before he got on. Hey, maybe 5 years from now, when you build up credibility, you can say it, and ain't nobody gonna give you backlash. They say, yeah, he said it, but he stand on business. He's in there for the community. Not saying he's not for the community. I appreciate him calling in.
You're just saying it hasn't happened as of yet, where you can see it. It's only been 2 years. And you know, this is the city of Milwaukee, and black folks in Milwaukee, it takes a lot to
sure
get there.
does.
It takes time to get to that point where it took us time to get to that point. We dealt with the same thing. Y'all only come around this and that and other, so they got to see us. And then once they've seen you, and I'm sure and out in this district they seeing them, and they get to that point where
I'll be real. Russell Stamper, I'll tell you this right now. People say, oh, man, that's Russ, man. He good. I could talk to him. I could hit him up. That's important. That's important. So, again, you know, I appreciate him calling in to have this conversation, and this is what the truth is about. Brad Schimmel scared to call in, but Lamont Westmoreland, he called in. He called in. We didn't even ask him to call in, but that's what you're supposed to do when you want to talk to the community. 833-212-1017. That is Dame LZ, who is guest co-hosting today on Truth to Power. On the other side, we'll wrap up the show. I thank y'all for y'all calls, y'all texts. We'll give our final thoughts on the other side. Keep it locked. Also, remember,
one call, that's all.
One call, that's all. Now it's your chance to be the 5K giveaway. Yes, the $5,000 giveaway with Gruber Law Offices. You can be the entry winner for the day. All you have to do is be caller number 5 right now at 833-212-1017 and be entered to win $5,000 with the Gruber One Call, That's All giveaway on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. Again, that is caller number 5 at 833-212-1017. And always remember, if you or a loved one is ever injured in an accident, do not hesitate to call Gruber Law Offices because they will stand stand up for you because they fight for victims. That's the thing about them. They will fight for victims. And always remember, there's no fee. There's no cost to call, consult, or retain them as a law firm, and you never pay a single penny until you win your case. Don't mess around with other law firms. Don't mess around with the insurance companies. Call Gruber Law Offices and watch the results come through. Make that one call, that's all, at 414-276-6666 or visit them at gruber-law.com.
More of Truth to Power is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Cass Bowers, Executive Director of All in Wisconsin. Did you know that there's an election coming up on April 1st? I encourage you to get out and vote. For democracy to work for all of us, it must include all of us. Vote to protect our rights and freedoms. I also urge you to vote no on the voter ID amendment on the ballot. Safe elections mean that no one is left out of the process, and we don't need more barriers to voting. Make your voices heard. Visit allinwi.org for more information.
Make history at the amazing 10th annual UNCF Mayor's Mass Ball on March 29th. Join Mayor Cavalier Johnson for an unforgettable evening that will transform lives. Every dollar raised helps promising local students achieve their college dreams through vital scholarships. This premier gala doesn't just celebrate our community, it builds future leaders. Be a part of Milwaukee's most meaningful social event of the year. Reserve your place now at uncf.org/MMB. That is uncf.org/MMB.
On April 1st, we have a choice to make. Donald Trump wants us to elect Brad Schimmel to the Supreme Court. Elon Musk's even spending millions to elect him because they know Schimmel will do whatever they want, even if that means letting them cut health care and food for hungry kids or eliminate the Department of Education. That's why we need to vote for Judge Susan Crawford.
I'm Judge Susan Crawford. As a former prosecutor and now as a judge, I've made sure rapists, murderers, and child predators were behind bars where they belong. And I trust women to make their own healthcare decisions. Brad Schimmel doesn't, but I always will. And that's why I'm asking for your vote.
That's Judge Susan Crawford, protecting our rights, our families, and our community. So on April 1st, help keep Trump and Musk in check. Go to the polls and vote for Judge Susan Crawford for Supreme Court. Make the right choice. Vote Susan Crawford on April 1st. Paid for by Susan Crawford for Wisconsin.
More of Truth to Power is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
It is Truth to Power here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth, and woo, this is a jam-packed hour of entertainment. We did.
Great hour.
Dame LZ, leave me with your final thoughts from today or whatever you got on your mind.
My final thoughts from today is you had Brad Schimmel that didn't want to call in, didn't want to come in because he was scared of the heat. Then you had Lamont Westmoreland, alderman of the 5th District of the city of Milwaukee, that called in, was getting the heat, called in, apologized for something that had happened that he had written about the littering in the city and took the heat. There's a difference. There's a difference represented in people and those that people choose to have represent them. So keep that in mind.
I agree with that because right there you have an individual that actually cares about the community versus an individual that don't give a damn about you, and that's in Brad Schimmel.
Right, because I've been, we were talking, I've been in the shoes of Lamont Westmoreland. When I'm sitting in the car and I suit off a press release to Russ, like, dog, we need to put this out. And Russ will be like, dang, you talking wild, reckless right now. We can't put that out. So I've been there. So I understand where he's coming from. So when he says that, I feel that and I understand that. And so, but the premise of it is we got to do a better job of keeping our own neighborhoods clean. Real talk.
Yes. I appreciate you joining us here today. And again, I appreciate you, Truth Nation, for those who called in, for those who text in. I just appreciate us having this platform to have a community conversation because we matter, right? We absolutely matter. And to echo some of the words again, I disagree with the way that he went about it, but hey, we need to clean up our community. You can join us for the community cleanup here on April 12th for 1017 The Truth. Go to truthcommunitycleanup.com so you can join us for our community cleanup. But I just want to thank y'all so much for joining us here today. And I'm going to make one last call to Brad Schimmel and text message to Brad Schimmel's folks. And Brad, I guess they got 23 hours to respond. And if not, I'm going to let y'all know tomorrow how I feel about Brad Schimmel. Make sure y'all tune in to find out whether or not we have Brad Schimmel tomorrow or we're just going to talk about his record. Keep it live.
The Batman TV show. What's going to happen tomorrow?
Make sure y'all don't miss tomorrow's show. It's going to be electric. This is Truth to Power. Tori Lowe shows up next. Peace out.
Calling all big thinkers.
The world's climate is changing.